Welcome to Bluegrass Brooklyn, our podcast all about the music we love, straight from the Bluegrass Borough of Brooklyn, New York.
Empty bottle on the shelf. Another game with this hand I've been dealt. They ask for reasons why. And I
Welcome everybody to Season 3, Episode 4. I'm Mike Wilner.
And I'm Liz Wolfe.
And today's theme is Homegrown, locally known. We talk to musicians we know and enjoy playing with, and we love sharing their points of view and their music with you.
And there are some really awesome singers today. This is, of course, what I love to listen to is beautiful harmonies with Raven and Red.
Yeah. We first encountered them at Jam Jersey, at least I did, and was struck. Their sounds are just really captivating. Then we pick it up with Emma Turoff. She's a recent graduate from the Berklee Conservatory of Music and has really interesting points of view and some fantastic tales to tell about her musical career.
She sure does. Then we have a little quiz for you, not about music this time, but about the borough of Brooklyn. So see how Brooklyn knowledgeable you are.
Yeah, what do you know about the Bluegrass Borough? All right, so Liz, what do you have on your agenda?
Well, I am having my Labor Day weekend camp and jam this weekend. Lots of people coming. People are asking me if there's still room. I don't know. There's 14 acres. There's probably plenty of room. And if you're wondering about jamming, there's a jam in New York City at Viddy's house. That's on Sunday. And then on Monday, we're having our Riverside Park jams.
They can see all that stuff at bluegrassjamsnearme.com.
Bluegrassjamsnearme.com.
You're going to IBMA, aren't you?
I am. In fact, I was just communicating with the Wernick folks because they do a Wernick method class free on Friday and Saturday. So I'm going to be there helping to coach that. And just looking forward this year, I just can't wait to play with people, see some amazing musicians, and just have a great time.
I'll be there too. Looking forward to attending the conference and then, of course, the festival. So it should be fun. And of course, I'll see you there.
So what do you have on your agenda, Mike?
Well, IBMA, as we said, but November 13th through 16th up in Westford, Massachusetts, I will be in Fiddle Hell. Fiddle Hell is an incredible event, hundreds of workshops, dozens of concerts, jams going on all over the place. And it's a hotel takeover type of event.
I didn't even realize that.
I'm going to cover the event from a podcasting perspective and also participate, which is awesome.
Which is good for you. You are a fiddler.
I am a fiddler. As I understand, the early bird discount on the cost of the ticket is still in place. So I hope to meet some of our listeners up there, maybe capture some of their thoughts on the events. You can check out Fiddle Hell, FIDDLEHELL.org. And please don't forget to follow us at Bluegrass Brooklyn. Brooklyn is spelled BKLYN. You can visit bluegrassbrooklyn.com. And if you're looking for jams in Uptown Manhattan, Bronx, and Riverdale, where should they go, Liz?
Bluegrassjamsnearme.com.
I think that's about it, Liz.
Yeah, let's get started with our episode.
Yeah, let's roll. Here we are with Mitchell Lane and Brittany Jones, who are collectively known as Raven and Red, an acoustic folk duo, perform bluegrass, a lot of originals. They are singer-songwriters as well. So first of all, welcome, guys. Thank you for taking time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
How long have you two been performing together?
We met in college in 2009, and I think by 2010 or so, we started performing some songs at the house, and then it just kind of went from there.
You guys have been doing this for a while. So tell us a little bit about your repertoire.
It's a really big mix between a lot of classic folk songs, modern folk songs, also bluegrass, country. We also perform Celtic music, and then we write a lot of songs together too. We like to include a lot of fiddle in the music and a lot of harmony-driven songs too.
Yes, I should mention for the sake of the listeners that Brittany plays a mean fiddle and Mitchell plays a mean guitar, both rhythm and lead, and a lot of great vocal harmonies going on. I first met you guys at Jam Jersey, right?
I think so, yeah.
And I'm really glad you got to join us at Porch Stomp and perform on the Bluegrass Brooklyn stage. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
That was so much fun. Thank you again also for having us
of
on the
course.
stage. But it was just a great sense of community.
Mhm.
Was one of my favorite parts about it. This was our first porch stomp, and we already saw so many familiar faces, and getting to perform up close for people, it felt intimate, even though there was so much going on at the same time.
When we were walking back to the ferry, it was like everyone that we knew since we've moved to New York, they were there stopping us, trying to talk to us.
All my favorite people on one island. So, Brittany, when did your violin become a fiddle?
Pretty early on, actually. So I started playing in elementary school in the school orchestra. And about 3-4 years into playing, my teacher asked if I was interested in going to a bluegrass camp with her. I said, sure, I'll go give it a try. And I didn't exactly know what I was getting myself into, but after just a few days, I was hooked. I just fell in love with it right away. I loved playing by ear. I loved playing double stops. The fact that you could play anything you want instead of only the written music.
Yep.
And then got really into harmony singing too. So I was about 13 when I discovered the fiddle.
Mitchell, same kind of question. What did you study in college, and how did you wind up as a bluegrass country folk artist?
I was actually studying opera in school, and I ended up getting my bachelor's studying that. But in the process, when I was performing with Brittany, she had finished her master's degree and had gone to Johnson City, Tennessee to study at East Tennessee State.
Right.
And they had just started the first bluegrass, old time country, and Celtic music program. And she said, you need to come out here and sing some of these bluegrass songs. She showed me some songs, and I started listening to them. And then I would drive out on the weekends to Johnson City, and we'd all meet at this place called the Acoustic Coffee House, which had a whole lot more beer than it did coffee. But we kind of grew up there in that style of music.
Yeah, I told him he had to come out and start jamming. I said, they love tenors in bluegrass music. You've got to learn some of these songs.
That's right.
It just took off from there.
How did you wind up here in the New York area?
We lived in Nashville for 7 years. And we really basked in it and did the whole thing. We had a regular gig at the Hilton Hotel on Broadway. It was really fun. And when the pandemic came along, it dried up a lot of the entertainment. And we started talking about it. And I said, where could we go? And we were like, let's go to New York. New York has classical music. And as we were going to learn, they also have a lot of folk and bluegrass. So I think as soon as we moved here, the first thing we did was go to Mona's Bluegrass, the jam on the Lower East Side.
Right.
And the rest is history, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were surprised to find out there were so many more jams going on here than we could ever find in Nashville.
Tell me the impression you had when you arrived and started encountering people around the New York and especially the Brooklyn music scene.
I was amazed right away about how friendly everyone was, how welcoming. It felt like you only needed to talk to most of the people that frequent the jams just a few times until you feel like you're already friends with them. Also, the variety of places where there are so many jams going on. Every night of the week, you can find a jam, and each one we would meet different people at, but then we would also see a lot of the same people.
I was drawn to the same thing. One of my favorite things about jamming in general is the social interaction aspect of it. There might be a few people there who are trying to impress everyone. And then there might be some people who are just showing up and they're trying to learn. And then there's everybody in between, both trying to learn and also maybe show something that they've been working on. I've never been able to make friends as quickly as I have at a jam.
Mitchell, I'm going to put you on the spot. Your favorite bluegrass vocalist?
Oh my gosh. Well, if I can count Vince Gill, then I will say Vince Gill, because I know he does a little bit of bluegrass. If we're just talking straight bluegrass, I think it's hard to beat Russell Moore.
Okay, you can have one of each. And so, Brittany, same question to you. Same question to you for fiddle players. You can go one non-specific and one bluegrass specific.
Okay. Also, very difficult to answer because there are so many players that I really admire. One of my very top players is definitely Stuart Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I would say Hunter Berry. I'd taken lessons with him for a while, and I think he's incredible.
Great. Okay. I ask the question in the context of Mount Rushmore, pick 4, but I wanted to make it a little harder for you.
Yeah, it is
pick
hard.
It is hard, right? So, do you guys have anything coming up? What's your current focus?
So we're writing right now, which feels really good because we took some time off from doing a lot of writing and we were just focusing on getting out and meeting a lot of people. And now we're wanting to do a little bit more on developing songs. And one thing we're trying to focus on right now is trying to write songs that are maybe a little bit different than what we've done before. Like if we wrote a lot of ballads, maybe we want to write a couple that have a little bit more of an up-tempo feel.
You can answer this separately or collectively. Wackiest, strangest, funniest, or weirdest experience in a jam?
What do you think, Brittany?
We had quite a few jams when we were still in Johnson City, Tennessee, that would go really late until about 5 a.m. And there was a big jamming community there too, with East Tennessee State being there. And there was one jam that was one of these late night jams that one of the professors came along to jam and didn't have an instrument, but he was one of those guys that could basically play anything. And the house where this jam was happening, there was a mandolin up on the wall, but it looked like no one had played this mandolin for years because there were just broken strings. I think there might have been a peg broken off. It was just a decoration on the wall. And he picked this mandolin up, no straps, strings missing, and just started shredding on this mandolin. Like, it amazing. You kind of had to be there to see it, but it was pretty unbelievable, like what he could make this mandolin sound like.
It reminds me of the story of Charlie Parker, who shows up at some gig with no saxophone, and they ran to the corner and bought like a $2 plastic toy sax, and he shredded and sounded better than any of us will ever sound on that instrument.
It was like that, yeah.
Well, I just thought of one that was actually kind of really surreal. We went to one of Sheriff Bob's jams at the Gray Mare. And we were there on the 2024 election night. And that was wacky. just in terms of like, we were all in the ship together and they had TVs on in the back room, and it was like, people would forget their words because they were looking at the tabulation, and it was very interesting. Just
it's like something out of a movie. So tell me, if our listeners want to find out more about you and your work, where can they find you?
ravenandred.com. We're also on most of the social media websites, on Instagram under Raven and Red, Facebook.
We have a TikTok now.
Yeah, we're new to TikTok, but there's a Raven and Red TikTok now.
Great. All right. So listen, I want to thank you both very much for your time. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to hearing you again.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much.
Deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains, mom and dad pray all alone for a wayward son who never will come home. I can hear daddy say, supper time, rock of ages, mama sings.
So here we are with Emma Turoff, mandolinist extraordinaire and Brooklyn native. Welcome, Emma.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining. Let's start off with, you recently graduated from Berklee.
I did, yeah.
Congratulations. Tell us a little bit about your experience at that well-known music conservatory.
I graduated in May, and I spent 4 years there as a mandolin principal in the American Roots program. And it was really extraordinary. Growing up in Brooklyn, there have always been amazing musicians here, but none of them were really ever my age. So it was really special to go and be completely submerged in this environment where there were probably like 40 young musicians who were all between the ages of 18 and 30 who were all studying bluegrass and old time music. It's also music school, so it had jazz and classical theory things. It wasn't bluegrass and old time all the time. I went mostly because a lot of the musicians that I knew in Brooklyn growing up, they had all gone there and gone through that program, which was just such a huge inspiration to me.
I'll have you know that when we go to music festivals or jam camps or something, whenever we see a bunch of 18 to 20-year-old, 24 years old, we like leave them alone because it's the kids. They play way too fast, way too high level. We can't keep up, so we're not even going to try and slow them down. We're just going to let them do their thing.
I feel the same way.
Yeah? Okay.
Sometimes.
So welcome back to Brooklyn. Those jamming around Brooklyn. Are you very involved with the jamming scene here in Brooklyn at this point?
I definitely was more when I was living here. I don't know when it started, maybe like 2016 or 2017. Up until about 2019, there was this awesome jam in Park Slope called Sad Song Happy Hour. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry Legend's old jam. And so I went there every Friday, and that was huge for me in learning how to play. I grew up working and playing at Jalopy Theater a lot, and I still work there when I'm here.
Yep.
I just turned 21, so I finally get to go to Mona's. I've been counting down the days for the last 7 or 8 years. So that's been amazing. And I've been to Mona's pretty much every Monday I've been in New York.
That's great.
And yeah, I've been hitting up Melody Berger's jam at Matilda's, which has been really fun.
That sounds like you've been hitting a lot of what we would call the A-list jams, because a lot of the stronger players and a lot of the professional and recently turned professional types. So what's it like playing with some of the best musicians in Brooklyn and the New York area in these jams?
It's amazing. My dad's a flat pick guitarist, and so I've been in the bluegrass scene since I was about 4 years old. So a lot of these folks like Rick Snell and Melody and all those folks, I've known them most of my life. They're such inspiring musicians, and it's really fun. I feel like, especially when I go to their jams, like I just come home and all I want to do is pick, and I can't wait till the next week, which is just really special. I feel like coming back from these jams, I'm like, oh my God, we're jamming and this is amazing. And no, the tunes can't be over. What do you mean it's midnight and we have to go home? And I learn new tunes every time I'm there. Like I really focused a lot on learning fiddle tunes for the last bunch of years. And even going to Mona's now, they're calling tunes and I'm like, I don't know these tunes. So that's always a blast, honestly.
What is the strangest, weirdest, funniest, wackiest experience you've had in a jam?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
It's supposed to be.
In New York specifically, or just in general?
Wherever.
Well, when my friends and I were younger, we used to go to a bunch of bluegrass festivals. And I remember before the pandemic, we were at Joval, and my friends and I just started making games out of jams. We would pick a key, and instead of going around in a circle of everyone takes a break over the same tune, your break was a tune, and then the next person had to pick a different tune, and you could play any tune in that key. And we just kind of went around, and once you couldn't come up with a tune or lost the key, you're out, and you had to leave the jam and wait for the next. So that was probably the strangest jam I've been in, but it was a lot of fun.
The most interesting or funny jam I was in was at the Jam-vember. It was just a bunch of us, and it became a Jambuster jam. It was all those tunes you can never call because no one's going to follow, or maybe you don't know it all that well, because it would just bog everything down. But that was the rule. It had to be a Jambuster, and that was a lot of fun too.
We've had other jams where we'll play the same tune, but everyone goes up a circle of fifth each time, or a half step each time, or something. They're fun to mess with your mind.
Yeah, it keeps you musically nimble.
Total.
You write music?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I write a lot of tunes and a couple songs. The songwriting is still a little bit fresh, but I've been writing tunes for a bunch of years. It's one of my favorite things to do. They're mostly an old-time style of tunes.
You mentioned the band?
Yeah, I play with a couple different folks, and we have some various little projects. Nothing is really like super solid or concrete, but there are some friends that we like get together and play some original music together, and sometimes we perform it.
Are you at all involved with the festival scene?
Yeah, definitely. This week, when we're recording this, is Gray Fox is starting up tomorrow. And I'll be playing up there with a couple different groups from Berklee, but this will be my 20th Gray Fox.
What?
So yeah, 20 years.
Wait a minute. You said you were 21 years old?
I'm 21 years old, yep. I missed COVID when they didn't happen, and 2006 when my sister was born. But I've been going since 2004. And that's the whole reason I play music.
So that infant with a mandolin in that picture, that's you at age 1?
Definitely, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the reason I started playing bluegrass is my parents would take us to Gray Fox. My mom doesn't play, so she would be in charge of bedtime and put my sister and I to bed, and that was like 8 o'clock. So she'd put us to bed really early, and the deal my dad made with us is if you want to stay up late, you have to learn how to play music and tune in time. And once you learn how to play bluegrass, then you can stay up late. So I only learned how to play so I could stay up late at Gray Fox. And the joke was severely on me And here we are.
And here we are. That's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Thanks for sharing that. What festival plans do you have coming up?
I'm going on a 33-day festival road trip with a friend of mine from school. We're starting at Gray Fox. We're going to play there together. And then from there, we're driving out to Colorado for Rocky Grass.
Wow.
Hoping to make that drive in about 2 days. So we're wishful. And then we're driving to West Virginia for Cliff Top. And then we'll be driving to Virginia for Galax.
Yeah. Are you
And,
competing?
We're going to compete because you get your money back if you compete. And then we're going to drive back up north and spend a couple days probably at home. And then we're going to Green Mountain Bluegrass and Roots Festival in Vermont. And then I'll be at Old Tone Festival in September.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It should be.
Really glad to have you back at Brooklyn and back on the scene. But I'm still going to hit you with probably the most difficult question of all. If I ask you to define your Mount Rushmore of mandolin players, could be bluegrass or otherwise, but you only get 4.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be in a particular order. The first name doesn't have to be your favorite. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore and why?
There are a lot. Andrew Marlin would definitely have to be up there. He is, you know him?
Yes, I've heard him. You're not the only one who's mentioned it, by the way.
Yeah, he's got this band Watch House, formerly Mandolin Orange. And he also has his own string band, the Andrew Marlin String Band. And his tunes are extraordinary and beautiful and very groovy. He's really making singer-songwriter folk mandolin a booming thing for all of us niche mandolinists. But he is probably my favorite mandolinist.
So that's one.
And yeah. Man, I would also have to say Dominic Leslie. He
Okay.
just such a killer mandolinist. Is like the notes that he picks, he could play the same tune over and over again and there would be something different in it each time. Speaking of Brooklyn, definitely Andy Statman. He's a monster. I was fortunate enough to get to study with him for a lot of my teenage years. And he's just extraordinary. No one can ever understand what he's doing on the mandolin. And at the same time, it also makes great sense. And it's just amazing.
Yeah, we host a jam at Delia's Lounge in the deep south of Brooklyn in Bay Ridge. So he came to perform. And I listened to him play and his note choice and what he's playing. My jaw was dropped and my eyebrows were raised for the whole thing.
Yeah. It's amazing. He used to do a show every Thursday night in the basement of a synagogue in the West Village, Charles Street Synagogue. And he doesn't do it anymore, but I was at that show just about every Thursday of my high school experience. And what he does, it's so interesting because when he plays the mandolin, it's just like insane and fireworks and just, whoa. He's just the most out of the box character. And then he plays the clarinet and he's just so in the box. It sounds so traditional and it sounds much calmer and it's amazing. It's really incredible to see how much music changes within one person's mind.
Yep. Okay, so that's 3.
Yeah.
The hardest one is the 4th.
Yeah. It would probably be Ronnie McCurry.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up between him and Dog, but I'll go with Ronnie.
Interesting. How come?
In terms of speed and inspiration for tone and speed and note choice and double stops, the tunes that he's written are a great example of it. Not that Dogs aren't, but there's just something really special about what Ronnie does. Just to watch him, I think that a lot of his tunes were really inspirational for me. I transcribed a lot of his music. The role that he plays in the Del McCurry Band is just such an essential part of bluegrass mandolin.
Yeah.
And it's really powerful. His chop is always just so solid. And there's never a flinch when he goes to take a break.
Right.
It's just, he's there and he brings you into that moment.
Okay, good Mount Rushmore. Well done. Do you have an online presence that people can access?
I do, yeah. I'm on Instagram. You know, all the kids are doing it these days.
All the kids today.
Yeah. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I've got a YouTube page.
Great. I've listened to some of your stuff on YouTube. I think I came across some of it, and I really encourage the listeners to give a listen. So, Emma, thank you. Really appreciate you taking time and speaking with us.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a blast.
Okay, so we have another quiz for you today, but today's quiz is not about music. It's about Brooklyn itself. We wanted to test your knowledge of Brooklyn. So the first thing, Brooklyn is one of the 5 boroughs of New York City, but before it was one of the 5 boroughs, what was it? And the answer, of course, is it was an independent city. And at the time, in 1898, it was the 4th largest city in the United States, which was bigger than even Boston. One of the most iconic landmarks in Brooklyn is the Brooklyn Bridge, which was finished in 1883 before it became one of the boroughs. So it was the first bridge in the world building what technology? Let's see if you know your Brooklyn Bridge technology. And the answer is steel wire. So steel wire was a new technology at that time, and people were so concerned that it would collapse. P.T. Barnum, who was the circus maestro, had elephants, and what he did was he marched his elephants across it in a stunt to prove that it was safe. So that was pretty cool. This iconic landmark is part of our Bluegrass Brooklyn logo. What is one of the most iconic amusement parks that you can go to in Brooklyn? And the answer, of course, is Coney Island. In the days before air conditioning and in the days before people stayed at home and watched electronic devices, they would do things like go to Coney Island. The first U.S. roller coaster was built in Coney Island in 1884, and it was called the Switchback Railway, which cost a nickel and hit a terrifying 6 miles an hour. But that was an enormous speed in 1884. So let's see, for you sports fan, what was the baseball team that left Brooklyn for Los Angeles in 1957? The answer there is the Dodgers, and the name evidently came from what they called the trolley Dodgers, because in Brooklyn, the streets had all kinds of streetcars on them. So I guess that was a thing people did, was dodge trolleys. So that's why they're called the Dodgers. So those are the questions for today's Brooklyn quiz. We encourage everybody to come out to Brooklyn. If you're visiting New York City, there's lots of bluegrass happening in Brooklyn. There's lots of other fun things happening in Brooklyn. Thanks for taking our quiz.
Those were some really fun interviews to do, and I was so glad to get to meet Raven and Red and Emma. Emma's attendance record at Crave Fox is pretty astounding.
That's incredible. I'm envious of her lifestyle with this 33-day festival trip. That's my future life.
And I can't wait to hear what comes out of the songwriting focus that Raven and Red are putting now, and hopefully we'll get to hear some of those tunes as well.
And I hope you did well on your quiz. And if not, I hope you will indeed visit Brooklyn soon and come and play some bluegrass with us.
Before we go, please remember to follow us at Bluegrass Brooklyn. Visit us at bluegrassbrooklyn.com. Check for jams at bluegrassjamsnearme.com.
Thanks so much for listening.
And we look forward to seeing you around the jam circle.